my veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no, I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capping space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
Welcome back. Welcome back. We're here today with a recap of Ready to Love's Make a Move. Make a Move. This is season 1 and episode 3, Seeing Double. How are you guys doing today?
Great, doing well.
Great. JR, your mic is on mute. Yeah, I'm
Hello?
doing well. There
Testing.
you go.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No
I had it on
problem.
mute by accident. Yeah, I'm okay, thank you. Hope you're well too.
I am. I am, and I am not. I
Uh-oh.
am saying goodbye to summer and sun and warm weather, because our Indian summer that played around with us for the last 2-3 weeks, it seems like it's gone away, and now we're back to dreary old fall. So
Mhm.
It's the same way out here in Texas.
Is it really? Okay, really. I'm surprised it's not still warm weather.
It's 42 degrees right now. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is shocking. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. I cannot believe TX has 42-degree weather in just October.
Yes.
And what's it like there in the UK, JR?
We have a few storms here at the moment, so we have rain and wind very frequently. It's quite cold as well, so we've definitely seen the back of summer as well. It's that winter season now.
Yeah, yep, it is. Yeah, guys, and we're saying hi to everybody. Hey, Carlton, James Hodge in the chat. Our own very special moderator extraordinaire and member, Monique King. Can't nobody beat Monique King. Maybe Ellen, but they're kind of neck and neck. You know, those are my moderators extraordinaires. I love them both dearly. And the mother and daughter duo, they have their own channel over here on these YouTube streets, guys. Go ahead and check them out. Hey, Ravine, our member extraordinaire. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hi, good evening, everyone. And Colton is saying hey to JR. We got our special guest tonight, and want to thank both of these gentlemen for being here. But our special guest tonight is Sean Stokes. Yay!
Hello, everyone. Hello.
You guys are familiar. If you've been here for the Ready to Love reviews, you've seen Sean on our channel before. So.
Yeah, we've spoken in passing on different platforms. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm talking about the chat family exactly.
Yeah, chat family. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, because you be in them chat streets. You be in there kind of tough. You know that. Yeah. I think I've been around to a couple of on these YouTube streets. I've seen you in a couple of different places, right? You and Monique and Ellen.
Oh yeah.
Hey Kirby.
How you doing, Miss King? She said hello, Mr. Stokes.
Oh yeah.
How you doing, Miss King?
Yeah, Mr. Stokes. And she getting all formal with it. All right. Well, guys, now that we got the weather out the way, we got everything out the way. Woo, Lord, let's go ahead and get into this Make a Move episode 3. Okay. We opened up this episode with Charisse and Zadia concluding on their disagreement. Now, you know what? They're gonna wear thin on me with this disagreement now. What do you guys think? I mean, are we all tired of this disagreement that was really over a little bit of nothing?
Well, I'm tired. But I predicted this was gonna go down, didn't I? Really.
You did. I tried to say I tried to stay hopeful, but you did.
Yeah, I think, you know, when you have the incident that took place, is it really worth dragging it out for like 3 episodes?
No.
You know, but at the same time, I do feel like they need to bury the hatchet so that they can get past it, because the other ladies are commenting on how it's affecting the mood in the house.
Right.
You know, and I don't think they want to particularly take any sides, but this all started from Zadia's not being honest with staying out at night. And you know,
Yeah.
I think Charisse is trying to keep the animosity going because it's stimulating in some way for her. You know, she likes to be amped up. She likes to call people out. And I think Zadia isn't rising to it. She's just taking jabs, but she remains calm most of the time. She's letting Charisse get worked up. And she's
Yeah.
just
She
being the puppet master.
So would you say in this case, so would you give Zadia some credit for just keeping her cool about things, or what would you say? Who's right, who's wrong in this situation?
I don't know if I'd give her credit for doing it, because again, it was her incident that started the whole thing. Like she, you know, she's grown enough to go out and meet whoever she wants to meet and date whoever she wants to date. That's fine. And I think there's an element of Charisse trying to control, you know, that side of what Zadia wants to do. But yeah, I think Zadia's MO is she knows how to stand her ground, ruffle feathers, and stay strong and wrong at the same time.
What are you?
There are two thoughts. My good friend, your friend Aubrey, your good friend JR, Ron Freeman said it's TV. It's TV. On the other hand, I was on a couple of platforms yesterday. On one was on Facebook, and I made mention about that same scenario. And believe it or not, Camille was a member of the same group. And and I was wondering, I said, what are the rules for this show? I know on the Ready to Love show you cannot date outside the process, but she said there are no rules. So you know, I don't know. I don't know how late they turned in and how late Charisse sleeps and what have you. I mean, I think, like I said, it could be banter for TV to build or show up. I don't know, or it could be just two hard personalities just going at it. I don't know which way to look at it. You have
a little bit of both, maybe.
It could be a little bit of both. Yeah, it could be a little bit of both. You know, I mean, would I be terribly upset if someone woke me up? I don't know. I mean, would I be more terribly upset that she lied and said she was in her room and not in her room? Maybe that may be more. That might have been the impetus that led toward that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because Zadia even called her a snake, didn't she? She expected
she's
there
a
to be more
Slytherin. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, she expected there to be more of a girl code, like don't snitch if I go out and do stuff. You know. But like I said, they're grown. They like if one of them wants to go and chill with one of the guys they're dating, then they should be entitled to do that. I would have a problem, or I think there would be a problem if they were going to sneak away and date someone else's potential mate. But if it's someone that you're connecting with, you know, if you can talk on the phone, you know, and like Ashley said, there's other ways to communicate. I know we're going to get to that, but there's other things you can do. You don't have to keep it strictly on the telephone for some of them. So,
well, let me ask this question: what was the argument about? Is it A, that Zadia woke Charisse up, or B, that they had the party at the house the night before with the guys coming in?
Yeah.
You know,
so yeah,
I'm trying to figure out what is it both? I don't know.
I think it's both. I think the fact is that Charisse made a big deal about not being comfortable having guys around, so they tried to appease her. And then at the same time, you know, is that going to stop them from making their connections? No. So she went out. But the problem is she didn't own it when she went out. When she was asked if she was in her room, she said, yeah, she was in her room. And she wasn't. And then Sharice is talking about being woken up early at 7 a.m. having to open the door. Okay. Most people are getting up around that time if they're going to work. So, you know, it's not out of the ordinary to be up at that time. But I guess you can't infringe on someone's sleep if they choose to stay in and not wake up at that time. And where was the apology for waking her up? That's the problem. Where's the apology? I think Sharice was trying to humble her a bit. And
yeah, because Sharice did say that when Zadia was on the phone, Zadia basically said, "Come let me in," you know. And I can honestly picture Zadia being that kind of person that instead of being humble or just even having home training or manners, as we say here, you know, instead of her saying, well, hey, you know, I forgot my key, yada yada, good morning, could you please come down and let me in, please, because I don't have a way to get in. I appreciate you. I can imagine Zadia being kind of very blunt and direct and saying, yeah, let me in, I'm downstairs, I'm knocking, nobody's answering the door, like, you know. Yeah.
And was it a Friday going into a Saturday, or was it a Thursday going into a Friday? I mean, sometimes, you know, if people on the weekend, you know, we were more relaxed. Right?
I'm thinking maybe it could have been a weekend, and maybe that is the reason why she's saying. And then you got to think about it though too. If for example, for some ladies, some people can work remotely, but if you have a physically tasked job, such as I believe Sharice does, because she owns an anesthetician salon where she does facials and things like that, and she employs people. If she can't be there, then basically she doesn't have to be at work. If you stop and think about it for a second, if she's in Louisiana and her shop is all the way in Miami, she ain't going to work. So maybe she does want to sleep in until 9 o'clock. So I don't have a problem with that. I see Sharice's point, but I think for both the ladies, they both lack maturity. They both lack resolution skills, because whether me as a woman, whether I get an apology from the other woman, let's say if I was Sharice's role and I was woken up at a certain time. See, I don't have a problem like turning my phone off and going back to sleep. I would do that if it's that big of a deal to me. I would do that, and especially if it's somebody I'm not really getting along with. And then the other thing is, if I did get up and wait, I just would have to let it go. We would have one conversation about it, let it go, because there are other people in that house. It's not about you two. It's about everybody feeling comfortable. Now you got everybody feeling uncomfortable.
And also, if Sharice wasn't feeling, you know, waking up out of her bed, she didn't have to get up.
That's what I'm just saying, right? I'd stayed in the bed, turn my phone on mute, which is normally on mute anyway before I get up. So you ain't waking me up. I had somebody call me today, and then they were giving me this long explanation that they were calling me from a different number. I still haven't responded to them. Why? Because I'm busy getting ready for these 2 podcasts that I do today. So like everybody that knows me well knows Sunday is really not the day to call me. Don't call me on Sunday. I'm not going to answer. If I'm busy, I'm busy. I'll get back to you tomorrow. Unless it's an emergency or unless it's my children and something urgent, don't call me on Sunday. I'm busy.
And here's the other issue that's been spillover from Ready to Love. I hate to say it. I hope it was not a colorist issue.
Ooh.
I hope it's not that. You know, you have a light-skinned woman and a darker brown-skinned woman. I hope it's not that dynamic. You know, that's been playing out over the airways from different seasons. I'm afraid it's not that.
I you know what? I had not even thought about that. I don't typically think in those terms. I guess there's always a possibility. What do you think, JR?
Yeah, I can see where you would come from with that, because I do feel like there is a I won't say a light skin privilege mentality or a pretty privilege mentality, but it's along those lines. And I think that may rub some people the wrong way and give that vibe. The attitude that Sharice has is for someone who is always talking about communication and things like that, she seems very hostile and aggressive to me. So
which one? Which she? Which one of the she?
Sharice.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, how are you gonna expect people to communicate with you when you largely come off as quite hostile, always critiquing and looking at what other people are doing rather than taking accountability or responsibility for how you show up. So I think she's got a stuck-upness about her that can rub people the wrong way for sure.
She does. I can see that. I get that, JR. I get that. I really, really do get that. Hey there, Boss Life Online. Good to see you. Welcome in. Welcome in.
So
go ahead.
I guess the question would be, who opened the door? Who opened the door?
Sharice did let her in. Sharice did let her in.
Okay. Yeah. She did let her in? Okay.
Yeah, she let her in.
She didn't have to let her in.
No, she didn't have to. And that's why I'm saying, for me, it's a question, you know, as grown women, as grown people, sometimes you have to do what works for you. And what I'm learning at my big old age is that self-care is very important. So like I said, again, I'm talking about, for example, in my own life, people that call me on Sunday to just chit chat when they know that I'm available to them on Monday. Or maybe they don't know, but I've tried to tell them. And if you don't know and you're listening and you know me personally, call me on Monday. Don't call me on Sunday, because Sunday I've got 2 podcasts to do and I'm very, very busy. I'm washing clothes. I'm cooking the Sunday dinner. So I don't have time to just kick it with you on Sunday. And I know for most people, JR, you and I were kind of talking about this earlier. Sunday is supposed to be our day of leisure or day of worship, right?
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's not. Sometimes you're an entrepreneur and you got other things, other irons in the fire, and you're trying to get your hustle on, and you're taking care of your family, or you're simply taking care of yourself. So it's not always the best time to reach out to people. And I'm kind of tying this into kind of like Zadia kind of interrupting Sharice's sleep or whatever. So, but at the end of the day, I'm disappointed in both the ladies, because I feel like this in life. To me, you learn your coping mechanisms and your conflict resolution skills. I remember when my kid was had just started high school, one of my children, the counselor reached out to me and asked me, could this child be in a program that would give them some resolution skills, and then they would be an ambassador for their high school among other people. And I think it's one of the best things that child ever took, is to take a program and learn how to have conflict resolution skills to address the issue and to move past the issue. Right.
Yeah. And you know, they sat down. Zadia wanted to have a private conversation to try and squash everything, and Sharice wasn't having it. So again, like, it just seems like Sharice is trying to drag it. You know, use it as something to always beat Zadia with that stick all the time. So, and Zadia can see it coming, you know, and she's just like, well, whatever then. And Sharice says she ain't going to change. So it looks like they just have to stay clear of each other. And Zadia, I think when she was saying, look, don't worry, you don't have to worry about me calling your phone ever again. Like, that was her saying, listen, I'm not calling you for nothing because you're a snake. You tried to G me up about sneaking out. So I'm not cool with you. Don't like the way you roll.
Yeah. Some in the chat are agreeing with you, Sean, about it could possibly be tied to colorism. I don't know. Possibly. I'm saying possibly because that wasn't something I thought of automatically, nor do I see where Sharice is treating Zadia any differently. Well, she is treating her differently than other 2 ladies, but I feel like, I'm going to say this. I feel like Sharice is treating Zadia differently because they are both the same type of women. They're both type A. They're both kind of have a mean streak in them, and they are kind of triggering each other, if that makes sense. What do you think, JR?
I agree. I said this from before as well. Like before the show aired and we were having discussions about what we think was going to happen, I did lay that out there.
JR tried to warn me, guys.
Yeah, I did. So, But you're right. I like, in my opinion, I think that's exactly what it is. I think you have two very strong personalities, and they're used to being domineering. They're used to being alone too, so they're not really used to having to explain their actions or the way they're feeling in a way which is received in a warm manner, right? But Zadia does a better job at it because she's not so hostile. She doesn't get so triggered. She's more laid back with it. Whereas Charisse is ready to get up and stomp around and shout and, really try and call you out on something. That's the difference. I think Charisse is much more confrontational, whereas Zadia seems to just take the jabs and kind of laugh and smile about it as if it's not really serious.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I feel like Zadia, though, on the inside, I think if we were to feel her on the inside, as something else I was talking about the other day, is she's probably having that fight or flight on the inside. But I feel like I can say this for Zadia. She has done some work from the season when we saw her on Ready to Love DC. She has done some work. And the reason why I say that is because the old Zadia would have knocked Charisse on her arse by now.
Oh, she would have mushed her in her face.
Well, could it be she's dealing with women?
In her face, huh?
Could it be she's dealing with women? I mean, could it be that she's dealing with women versus a man? I mean, because the way she did the way she did Dante,
well, yeah.
I don't think she would have done that to Charisse. They'd have been scrapping,
Well, I guess I'm being dramatic, but I will say that she would have came for her though, because if you recall, Zadia had trouble and problems with both women and the men on her season. So it wasn't just Dante. She had a problem with Sabrina Soul.
Yeah.
Yep. And she had a problem, right? And that was based in colorism.
She had a problem with Aisha, and Dante's connection with her with Aisha as well.
Correct. So so that's why I'm saying that. But guys, I have a whole nother theory. My theory is this. My theory just came up with this. I think both women are suffering from pretty girl syndrome and entitlement syndrome. And I think what the issue is they both had this, that pretty girl syndrome. They both have benefited from being cute girls or pretty girls, and they both have this entitlement in the sense that that men are supposed to pick them. And I think right now what's baffling them, they're in this house with all these beautiful women, and like I said again, to me they trigger each other because they're the same type. They're basically the same person in two different bodies.
Yeah, like I said, I can definitely see the similarities, and I agree there. So it's a situation where I think the smartest thing that the show have done so far is to not let them fight over the same man. That's one of the smartest things that's happened so far. Because
we haven't seen that yet.
Exactly. On today's show, they had two of the ladies, they split the group. They had two ladies dating one guy each, a new guy. And thank goodness they didn't have Charisse and Zadia dating the same guy, because then it would have been fireworks, right?
That's true. So yeah, we'll go ahead. I'll use it as my cue because we have talked quite a bit about the argument. So the next thing we have is we have the guy Kirsten, a new guy who the matchmaker Tamika has picked out for both Ashley and for Zadia, but he goes out first with Ashley. And I felt like they had a real vibe. The two of them, Ashley, of course, is always upbeat. We know Ashley is always going to be hype. And she found him to be quite attractive. And she complimented him on his good looks and let him know it. What were your thoughts about this date, Sean?
Yeah, it was a very great vibing date from what we saw in the edited portion. They seemed like they had very great chemistry. They both come from large families, and they both like Chick-fil-A. They both, they just seemed like they had natural, organic chemistry in conversation with one another. I still think Ashley is a little bit too much sometimes. I wouldn't date her, not because of anything aesthetically, but it's just the fact that sometimes she's just a little dialed down a little bit sometimes.
A little too hype, a little bit too hype for you.
Sometimes she just a little too hype, hyper. Just calm down a little bit. I mean, there's a time and a place. I mean, I don't mind turning up, being silly at times, but just calm it down a little bit. I'm not trying to minimize her person or nothing like that, but I think they had a great time in conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Sean. Like, I think Ashley's personality is very bubbly, but there's also an over the top element to it as well. And I feel like her attraction, her instant visual attraction to the guy, that really set the tone for their date. And the connection they had, I feel like that was a very good date. They connected very well. Wasn't anything bad or negative that came out of that one. And yeah, I know we're going to get to it later, but I think that was a good date.
Yeah,
I think she's really feeling him.
She does seem to be feeling him. She does seem to be. And what do you think? Do you think that he seems to also be feeling her in return, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think he is. But ultimately, it's not his decision. It's really down to how the ladies vibe with him. I think out of the two ladies that he dated, he definitely seemed to have more fun with Ashley, but probably found Zadia very attractive.
Yeah, I felt that way too.
Yeah, he liked the personality with Ashley, but he liked the looks with Zadia. Yeah, I actually see that.
When I was young, that was a thing. Like, you could say, wow, if I could smush these three guys together, because he's got the looks, he's got the profession, and he's got the personality. You could take three people and smush them together and have the perfect man. But you can't do that.
The bionic man there. We can't do that.
Bionic. Right. So so moving on to Kirsten now with Zadia. That date felt a little stiffer, if you will.
A little stiff, yeah.
A little stiffer, yeah. What do you think?
Well, I think the idea is that from what we saw, very little was in common. Okay, with the Zadia line, "I'll gift a child," and he comes from a large family, and I'll gift the child, and so and so and so and so. I don't know if I want to hear a woman tell me I gift your child.
Yeah, what is that all about?
Come on. Let's be grown about this thing. I gift you one. I mean, the praying thing, the praying in silent. I don't know. Being a Christian myself, I mean, I'm like Zadia. I want to know who you're praying to, what you're praying about. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the praying in silent was about. I don't know whether that's just for TV or what, or whether he didn't want to expose his religious beliefs or what have you. But it kind of felt a little forced. It kind of felt a little stiff. Kind of felt a little inauthentic than it did with Ashley.
Right.
Now, I don't know whether these were. I don't think these were. I hope these were on the same day, because you just eating with Ashley now. You eat. I mean, I don't know how much room you got in your stomach, but hopefully it's different days.
Oh, speaking of, wait, excuse me for just 1 second, and you can answer this, Sean. How do you feel about Kirsten when he told Zadia? He said, "Now you cute and all like that, but all that aside, we're not gonna waste these people's food." What did you think about when he said that? How did you take that? Was he joking?
Oh wow, I don't know. I think she took it as a joke. I don't know whether he was serious or humorously serious. He might have been humorously serious. and you can catch more flies with honey than you can with vinegar. So probably had to make it in a humorous fashion, but he was serious at the same time. Like, I don't know who pays for the food. I don't know if production pays for the food or the school pays for the food or not. And look, you ain't just gonna waste my money. Just eat a few bites now. Look, I don't know.
But he hadn't eaten it when you looked over to see the shrimp kebabs. He hadn't eaten his either, so it wasn't like it was just her that hadn't eaten.
True.
I think of these days, it made me think about something like.
Yeah.
I think about these days, and it made me think about the fact that, it's kind of awkward to be eating on camera. And we saw this, last day with Sharice and Maurice, didn't we, JR?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think he was genuinely telling her, look, let's stop talking, eat now, man. Let's just start eat some food and kick it while we eat and talk at the same time, kind of thing. Some people are down with that. Some people, like we said last week, as soon as that food's served, they want to get their head down and chow down and in silence. But
right,
I feel like his connection to Ashley was so much more authentic, so much more bubbly, so much more lively. Like she said, they were going back and forth with little jokes and things like that, so that you didn't need an icebreaker. Whereas I agree, the date with Zadia was much more I want to say rigid. It didn't have that much depth to it. And I think a couple of the things that Sean mentioned turned the conversation down even further. When she mentioned gifting a child,
okay.
First thing some guy's gonna think is, gift me a child. So what, you're gonna like, you just wanna do it just for me, and you're not gonna be involved. You don't want to be maternal. You don't want to take care of the kid. So that was one thing. Gifting a child is not the way to go. Like, you should be talking about building a family if you want to.
Yes, there you go. Ooh, say that. Where's my applause?
But I know that was a line from her season of Ready to Love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I think
that was
it came
a line
out
from
of
her
Jeffrey.
season from Ready to Love.
It came from Jeffrey. That's the first person I ever heard say that.
Okay, Jeffrey. Okay, well, I know somebody said on Ready to Love.
Yeah,
somebody said it. Yeah, somebody said it. Well, okay. Well, I stand corrected. I stand corrected. So, somebody said it first.
If you're family orientated, if you've grown up in a large family, there is a possibility that you want that family for yourself as well, that and your partner. So, like I said, the idea of the wording of gifting the child can be taken in different ways. Yes, kids are a blessing, but if you're saying it from the perspective of, I'll drop the baby on you, I'm still going to go out and work and make my money, and you get stuck with the kid. That's the other thing.
And I think that's what Zadia looks at it as, a child is a hindrance more than a blessing. I can't live my best life. I can't go and be great.
Right. I think a lot of modern women, some, let me say that. Let me change that. I think that some modern women do feel that way. And what I got very concerned about, I'm not a guy, obviously, but if I were to advise a young man who was dating for marriage and wanted to have a family, if someone told me that a woman told them that on a date that she would maybe possibly gift him a child, I would say run for the hills, because if you're a man that wants a family and wants to create a legacy with your wife, she is not the one. She's basically telling you that you're going to almost have to bribe her to have your child. And like to what JR is saying, possibly she may not want to have anything to do with said child. So that is not a mother right there. I would not want that woman if I were a man or if I were advising a man. And I will add this for emphasis. I know of several men who were well employed, well established, and were looking and seeking a wife, and some who even were married and had to get a divorce because their wife lied and told them that they would have a child. And then once they were married, they did not have a child. They had procedures or were taking the pill, and they were doing whatever they could to not get pregnant. And I feel like that is a very serious issue, and that thing should be worked out before you get married. Do you want to have children? You do not want to have children? Bye.
Yeah. And I think it could also go back I mean, you know, none of us know their backstory, how they were raised, except for what they tell us. You know,
True.
It could go back to her childhood. I don't know whether she had a close relationship with her family, because I know he mentioned to Ashley that, you know, he had a large family and everybody was very close.
Okay.
You know, and so, you know, maybe Zadia come from one of those problematic families that you know, we just exist because we're kin to one another. We share the same last name or what have you, and really there's no love in the household. And so
That's a
I don't
good
know.
point. Yeah. But
I
whatever
know
your
sometimes people
reason,
do that. I
though,
mean,
but whatever your reason, at the end of the day, it's like the difference between eating and not eating, going to work and not going to work. At the end of the day, whatever that person's reason, I'm saying that's for them to resolve for themselves. But if I'm dating you, or if my son's dating you, or if a man's dating you and you say, oh, I'll gift you a child, and you got all that nonsense going on, my best advice to anybody dealing with that wants a family, move on. Don't blink. Don't go past go. Don't collect $200. Move on, because they're telling you something very serious about them.
Exactly. And that's my point. Like sometimes it comes across that wording of gifting a child, it means, okay, well, I'm just going to have it just because you want it, but I'm going to go out there and eat. And that's the wrong thing to, in my opinion, to be thinking about. You need to be building together. If you're going to have children, the child's going to need both of you, and you're going to need each other. You know, it isn't about gifting the child. But yeah, so the maternal aspect of Zadia is quite questionable for me after hearing that. But again, it's still early and they've just met each other. This was their first date. So, you know, after just meeting for 30 seconds, is this really a genuine scenario to bring up? You know,
but I mean, I think it's something. You're right. It's something though. But if you're serious, again, and this is just me, I could be that I'm too serious. But I say that if you're serious about something, again, it's just like a job. So you wouldn't go and apply for a job and sit down for the interview, and you're saying, you know, they've asked you questions about yourself and how you fit their company, right? Now it's your turn to reverse it and ask the questions you need. You would not, I think most people would not want to work for a company, for example, that doesn't offer health and dental benefits, right? Or maybe a 401k plan. Same thing with a mate. Like, why are we wasting time with this person when they're clearly showing, to your point, that they have no maternal skills? They don't have any interest in having a family, creating a family, raising a family together. I'm just saying, to me, it's like where people get thrown off a lot. When we're young, we feel like we have all the time in the world, but those 20s and those 30s go by very quickly, very quickly.
And further down in this episode, when she's with the guy that she actually does like, the guy with the hair,
Cameron.
She made a comment about, you know, when are we going to do this so that your money can be my money? You know, so again, it's these things that she says that kind of make me feel like it's all about her, which, to be fair, on this show, it is all about the ladies making the decision, making the choices. So regardless of what the men.
Oh, she said that to him. I don't quite recall that part.
And that's what I was going to get to. Yeah. That's what I was
go ahead and knock it out right now, because we're going to move on to the next couple. Go ahead.
Because
Sean.
She's feeling him because, I mean, we don't know what this guy, what's his name, did for a living. The one that the one that was with Ashley first, and then when it was Zadia. I don't know what he does for a living, but I think that struck something with Zadia. And number one, he's a doctor, even though he's a pharmacist. He's a doctor. Number two, he grew up in Atlanta. Went to school in Atlanta. He went to UH for a semester, but he did grow up in Atlanta. So they had more connection between those two. You know, whether the physics.
But you're talking about Cameron the Keeper, though, not
Cameron
right?
the Keeper. Yeah, Cameron the Keeper. Yeah. So and so when Zadia told this guy Kurt, what's his name? Kirsten. Yeah. She told him that she was from DC. He said, DC. I'm taking it in. I mean, like, okay, it was almost like a blank stare. Like, where is DC? I mean, you know, no recollection to the East Coast of the United States. So, I mean, you know.
You're talking about the new guy now. We're going.
Yeah, the new guy. Yeah.
You gotta preface. We not.
Yeah, I gotta preface. Yeah, I'm preface the new guy. You know, it's like almost like where are you talking about? DC? Where is DC? You know.
Some people have never been outside their city or their state, though. To be honest,
yeah, that's true. Some people haven't.
There are still a number of people that have never traveled outside of. Let's say they're in the state of Louisiana. They've never left Louisiana ever.
Yeah. Now I don't really. I mean, I just like Zadia. I mean, I listen for accents and dialects. You know, I don't think Kirsten is from New Orleans. Ain't it, baby? Hey, baby. What's up, baby? You know that New Orleans thing. You know, you know it when you hear it.
No, yeah, the other guy has it. Venetia's guy has that.
Right.
Venetia's guy has it. Yeah, you hear it more than we. Yeah, if you listen to it very carefully, it's a very distinct dialect. You know.
Okay. Yeah, I believe.
So I think he's a transplant.
Real quick, he's a transplant to New Orleans. Sean, I agree with you. Real quick, what do you guys individually tell me? What do you think of the silent prayer that he did? I think, Sean, you already gave me. So, JR, did you comment on the silent prayer that was done with Zadia?
Yeah, I didn't understand that. I mean, listen, if he wanted to show how spiritual he was, then he would have gone full blown like prayer. Saying grace at the dinner table is something that a lot of people have done because they've grown up in a religious household. So I'm not sure if he was trying to get brownie points, but it failed because he didn't actually say what he was praying about. So Zadia definitely noted that and held that against him for that too.
He might have been a Quaker. You know, Quakers believe in silent prayer.
I'm sorry. As soon as you said the word Quaker, I'm not. Please forgive me. I'm not laughing at anybody's religion or their what's the word I'm looking for? Because within a religion,
denomination.
Mm-hmm. But when you said Quaker, the first thing that came to my mind was a box of Quaker oats. Right.
Yeah. That's what I thought as well. I imagine the oatmeal, the porridge. Yeah.
That's exactly what I thought. So okay, so guys,
he doesn't look like the guy on the box, does he? So.
Right, Roro told me to lay off. Roro told me to lay off the East Coast. I'm from the East Coast, Roro. So I mean, you know, that's just me. I'm from Virginia.
Okay.
So.
You're from Virginia. Okay. I thought you had told me.
The reason why a lot of Americans don't go anywhere, just saying, is because your country is so large. It takes forever to get anywhere.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Take you 2 days to get through Texas.
You know where I want to go to, JR, in your country? I want to go to Cornwall. Have you ever been to Cornwall? Am I saying Cornwall?
No, Cornwall. Yeah, it's not somewhere where you will see a lot of melanated people.
Melanated people. Okay.
Yes. Right. But they have the best ice cream. They're very known for their ice cream and cream and dairies and things like that. And they get good weather a lot of the time.
Yes. Well, you know,
tell them to go to East. Tell them to go to East End.
I'm fascinated with the show. I love the BBC, and I'm fascinated with the show. I watch it quite a bit, called Death in Paradise, which is filmed there. And I said, oh my God, it is so gorgeous there by the water. I would love to go visit that place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but guys, help me out. I need your help. Okay, so the next segment with the dates, I don't recall the guy's name. We know
Walter with Venetia. Walter.
Mm-hmm. So Walter went out with Venetia, and you know, he's given us this build up, this confessional before he meets either of the women, and he says, you know, I don't care about their size and this and that. I care only about their heart. And so he meets Venetia, which I thought, because most of the guys kind of go gaga over Venetia and her figure being all curvy and everything. I was surprised that I didn't hear him. If he paid her a compliment, they edited it out because we didn't hear that. But they seemed to have a warm greeting, and they went to learn how to make etouffee, and they were in a cooking class and cooking lessons. And they definitely seemed to have a vibe that definitely appeared to me to be chemistry. What did you guys think?
Well, you're right. He didn't comment. He didn't comment about Venetia's figure, but he commented after that, though, on Sharice's figure.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, this guy seems like a pretty genuine dude. From both of the ladies' opinions, he came across as what they perceive to be a man's man. Like he took the lead to show, you know. So that was something that they liked. And he seemed pretty straightforward, pretty open. He wasn't as closed off as Sharice's keeper is, but you know, he's also a very accomplished guy as well. I think that won him a lot of brownie points as well. But I think this guy is, I think this guy's a serious dude. If you're gonna date this dude, then you know you have to come correct. I don't think this guy's gonna tolerate too much mess or wasting his time. Seems like he's very direct and very concise with how he uses these words. So seemed all right.
Okay. Sean, thank you for that. JR, Sean, what was your take on Walter?
Walter's cool as a fan, but you know, he said, I mean, if he's 46, I was thinking, I said he was married for 19 years. I said, how long has he been divorced? One. So I mean, that's 19 for 46 is only 27. So I mean, I don't know whether he just got divorced like my man Brandon did a few weeks before the Red and Love season. I don't know. I don't know whether he had just got divorced or what. I don't know. Or I don't know whether he's still married. I don't know. Who knows? We never know with these people. But I think the conversation was different because each woman is different, but the name dropping more so with Sharice than it was with Venetia, who he's worked with and what he's done, you know, his catalog. With Venetia. Yeah. Versus, I think it was a more mature date, quote unquote, if you want to call it that, with Venetia. You know, the cooking class, the more intimate cooking class, you know, some women love that, you know. Man, you know, hey, we can cook together and what have you, and I can show you how I can cook and how I can throw down and get them, and then blow my spoon off and feed you and da 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 da. I don't know. I don't know whether that was just to test the boundaries or to see how far he could go. I don't know. It might be his MO.
I think you also touched on something very important. Not only did he talk about his 19-year marriage very briefly, he mentioned it, right? But he also said it was a great marriage. Like, you know, she's a great woman and they just didn't work out. So if you're going to be with someone for 19 years and then it fizzles, then how long you've actually been apart and, you know, divorced and ready to move on, that is a very big factor. Because I'm not saying you can't have good and nice things to say about the person you're with, but I think there has to be a context as to how long you've been apart. If there's still any contact between their kids, you know, do you share parental responsibilities, things like that? Because that can also impact.
Because you can get out of it, but can it get out of you? True.
Right. So
you can get out of it, but can it be out of you? Yeah.
Can what be gotten out of you? I'm sorry, I missed.
I was saying you can get out of it, the marriage. You can get out of the marriage, but can you get it out of you?
Right.
You know.
That's okay. That's a true thing. Yeah.
All it takes is the gavel from the judge to decree the divorce. You know, but if I'm still thinking about you every day after I done divorce y'all, like daggone.
I see what you're meaning by can you get it out of you? Yeah. Right. If you're still obsessing about that person. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give y'all some of my separation dust because I have no problem with it. I'm gonna tell you something. My mother had to be here. She gone on in now, but my mother would have to be here to tell anybody and everybody that look, when I'm done, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Okay. Don't even circle the block because it's over. It's over. I'm cool as a cucumber when it comes to dusting the dust off my shoes and moving on. Okay.
But, like what's my man Teddy Pendergrass said? We loved each other. We just didn't get along.
Whatever the reason. I whatever the reason, I'm so over it. It's like, you know what? And I think that's where my ADHD kind of kicks in too, because there are certain things that like I can remember and forget if it makes sense. Like I know it's back in my memory block and I can pull it back if I need to. But when I know a person is just bad news, I just look at it like this. You're bad news for me for whatever reason. We didn't work out. We just don't fit. We're bumping heads. We're too much alike. We're too dissimilar, whatever the reason is. I'm just forgotten about you. It's just that simple. You in that file of like forgottenness, okay? It's just I'm cool. But anyway, but we move forward. I wish I could put that in a bottle, because I know a lot of people seem to have trouble with letting go of people that are no longer in their lives, that hurt them, that lied to them. I just wish I could bottle that up. I'm gonna see if I can work on that, okay? But we move on to the keeper date. So Charisse and Maurice, the driest person in the world, go for a picnic. And so now we learn, okay, because I got to put this on Maurice. Maurice, I tried to give you all help that you could have. I blamed it on Charisse. I said Charisse was asking too many closed-in questions last week. But now we find out that neither one of you can converse. And so I blame that on you at this point. You have no conversation. You got your Louis Vuitton slippers on, and you just think the world revolves around you, is what it seems like. And it seems like to me it's like two shallow people on a date with no conversation. I'm bored stiff. What did you guys think?
It showed you. That's what it showed you right there. Why do we need to know what kind of slippers he had on? You know.
But she said it. That's the only reason why, because I give less than a frog's leap about any of it.
So, you know, I mean, and when she first met him, she said, "Oh man, I like a man with a suit." Ooh, she did a dang thing. I know this. So it was surface level with her, even though she quote unquote finds it problematic to try to find a man without any children. I think that you're not gonna hardly find that. You know, I'm a man without children, but I'm an anomaly. You know, I don't know if JR has any children or not, but you know, we're very few far in between.
Nope.
You know, what have you. So. You know, and for her to be on the show and to happen to run into a man that's going to check off all the boxes is very hard. But she said, I think what won her and made her stay was the fact that he said he's a lawyer. And ching. You know,
I think that's what it is. She's counting his coin, because she's been doing that since back when she was dating ballers. But you know what? Here's the problem, Charisse. You ain't never gotten one of them. You never gotten one of them to propose marriage to you. So I'm tell you what, like, you don't know this girl, but let me turn you on the game. Find you an electrician, a unionized electrician, and let that be that. Okay, quit trying to go for the lawyer type. Quit trying to go. You gotten too old for the ball player type. That's off limits to you at this point. Okay, so I'm telling you, find you a local electrician. I'm serious. Find you one unionized by the IBW. I'm serious. I tell you what. You really want to know? Women don't understand that men in the trades, they make more than the average man that has a master's degree.
Of course, but they're not looking.
That's so true. True.
They're not looking for what they are.
They're not looking for men like that. They want men that own the electrical company.
Yeah.
Well, she's gonna probably have to switch ethnicities then, if that's the case. Now, there are black men that own electrical companies. In fact, my cousin in Pittsburgh happens to know one very well, prominent person like that. But that's, again, we're talking about a 1% of a 1%.
Exactly.
That person right there, he's a 1%, and he ain't looking for Charisse. He ain't looking for Charisse.
Aubrey, I'll tell you this, Aubrey. I have a doctorate degree, and there are more people that make more money than I do. They have way less education than I have.
But I'm telling you, that's why I say a master electrician. I worked in the electrical field, and I'm here to tell you that everybody you see, every man you see, and I'm gonna tell you this: most of them got long legs, look good, and they're fit. All the men you see climbing up on the poles to fix your street lights, they all make over $200K a year. Bet. Okay, so if you didn't know that, now you've been turned on. If you got a guy that's a plumber that fixes toilets, you better think about it. You better quit trying to get this guy that wears a 3-piece suit.
See, because most of us that get all this education, quote unquote, we don't like to get our hands dirty.
That's correct.
And that's the problem. That's the problem right there, is that they overlook the guys that like to get their hands dirty and sell for the guy in the suit. When the guy in the suit is sometimes the bigger dog than the guy that's getting his hands dirty.
Right.
I mean, like I said, like I would tell my students, I said, look, there's nothing wrong with having a PhD and knowing how to work on your car at the same time. Nothing wrong with having a PhD and knowing how to do hair at the same, to be in a salon.
Be multidimensional.
Be multidimensional. Have more than one stream of income.
One of the wealthiest guys. To your point, not to cut you off, I'm sorry, Sha, but to your point, one of the wealthiest, well-to-do men at my church told me this a long time ago. My mother raised me to be more than a one-trick pony. What does he mean? When he retired, he has sources of income coming in from 3 different pensions: military, city, municipality. Okay, like, don't play. You talking about what she's trying to create by some guy having a 3-piece suit and some Louis Vuitton slippers on, and he ain't trying to spend that on you. He probably looking for somebody half his age. He's 51. He's looking for somebody 26.
Oh yeah.
But you can't tell women nothing. You can't tell some of these women nothing. I'm sorry.
But the question that I asked, I don't know what direction you're going in.
Yes.
But the question I asked is, why does Sharice keep asking herself, well, he's got 4 children. I don't know where I fit into it. I mean,
he wants to be a baby again. I done told y'all what it is with Sharice. Sharice ain't fooling me. Sharice has daddy issues. She wants to try to go back. It's subconscious to her. She doesn't even realize it, okay? I'm telling you. She wants to go back and be somebody's little girl again. But at 40, whatever plus, it's too late.
44, yeah.
It's cheaper to go to therapy, get that fixed in therapy. That's something you and your therapist work on, okay, dear? And then here, date somebody that's age appropriate and quit worrying about their pockets. If you got your own pockets, why are you worried about their pockets?
And while she's there at the therapy, work on the anger and aggression too. But I think the thing about this particular couple is that I don't think he should do more talking, because they'll just be butting heads. He's just giving her ammunition for her to critique him, and I think the less he says, the better. And it may ruffle her feathers because he's not being open. Nah, like, listen, if he's open and vulnerable, if he chooses to be that way, I'm quite sure that they will get into more arguments and things, because she will use some of those things against him. Just like what she's doing with Zadia, like, she's holding on to that grudge. Sharice holds grudges. She's going to keep on picking him apart, over analyzing. And the thing that I find ironic is Sharice does not have conversation skills herself. She doesn't open up herself. What has she spoken about? Like, what have we learned from her this season that we didn't know already? Nothing.
Yeah. Well, I think this, that while she's looking at the trappings of his quote unquote success, anybody that has a few dollars can buy some Louis Vuitton shoes.
Yeah, right. But she wants that prestige, though.
Prestige. That my man is a lawyer. My man is a lawyer. Now, there are plenty of lawyers. Now, the idea is that he could very well be a lawyer, which he is, but all his clients could basically be pro bono. He could be a public defender. We don't know. So I don't know whether his clients have the money to actually pay him, what have you. We don't know that.
Right. But the other thing is,
go ahead.
He does come across. He does come across as a very confident, established person, and from the visuals, the aesthetics of it, I think that's what's attracting Sharice to him, as we've all agreed. In terms of the personality, a lot of people think he doesn't have any depth at all. He probably doesn't, but like I said, the positive thing about that is they're not butting heads. If he was more lively, more vibrant, he would be dominating the conversation, because Sharice doesn't have much. But it would be going into back and forth territory, because I don't think Sharice can literally hold a conversation even if one started.
Right. That's a problem I have with both Sharice and Zadia. they don't seem to be very strong in the conversational skill department. And maybe that's just my opinion, but did you guys notice anything similar? Do you disagree with me? What do you think?
No, I agree. And like I said, it seems more.
I agree with you.
It's like interrogation. It's like you ain't got the conversational skills, so all you want to do is find out more about the person, and then that's how you want to form your conversations about what they've told you, and that's not going to work with some people. So you have this guy who's a lawyer, and what do lawyers do? They literally are paid to hold secrets and try and win the case, win the argument, win the battle, win the lawsuit, right? But he can be very guarded. Like, he's probably very good at his job. Keeps secrets, holds things in. He tells you what you need to know, which is just enough to keep you, answer your question. Like we've spoken about, sometimes people bring their careers into their personalities, and that may be why he's so closed off in her opinion. But like I said, she's not really an open book herself. She's very vocal, she's quite hostile, but that doesn't mean that you're an open book.
Yeah, I think she's looking to him for a come up.
Yeah, like you said, having a rich lawyer or a successful lawyer on her arm is something that she can, she can say, yes, I've got this. I've got a lawyer on my arm. It could have been somebody else. It could have, but no, I found me a lawyer. He's going to take care of me. He's going to get me these Fenty slippers, these Louis Vuittons, these red bottoms, all these different things. So it's very superficial. And I'm not saying she's a gold digger, because she has her own money. She knows, she knows what it takes to be successful herself. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that, there's still an element of hypergamy there, where she's really attracted to the finances rather than the actual person.
I mean, because the idea is, the other guy that she went out with, I mean, he was very honest. She said, have you ever been cheated? Have you ever cheated before? He said, surely have. Way back in the day, I did. Yes. He was honest. He was honest about it. But the thing about it, he had a little 4-year-old child. I think that, and once again, like I said, daddy issues. Like, you got a 4-year-old child. I don't fit anywhere in this program, But now this guy, Maurice is 21. Maurice has a 21-year-old, so she could see herself. And plus, he's a lawyer, so she could see her more self. So in that dynamic, than she could in the other dynamic,
Right.
What do you guys think about the comment that's on the screen? High Vibe says that Maurice is very typical of an educated, successful Black man. They know they're wanted and don't do much in pursuing women because they are being chased already. What do you guys think about that comment? Could that be Maurice's reason for being laid back?
That could be very true. They're very sought after, aren't they? Like, how, if you listen to some of the chit chat about what some ladies are looking for, a majority of them would like an educated, successful Black man. And if he's handsome as well, or has some looks about him, then he's going to be very sought after. That means he doesn't need to go and chase, does he? Because he's got more options, more ladies interested in him than he needs to go out and look for. So that's very true.
I wish I was pursued. No, I'm just kidding. No.
I mean, you're successful, educated. You fit the bill. So tell us, is that true what they're saying?
I think it's harder if you're talking about black relationships, it's harder for a Black woman to find an educated Black man than an educated Black man to find an educated Black woman, because we are so few.
Wait a minute, say that one more. Slow down.
It's harder for an educated Black woman to really find an educated Black man on her level than it is for an educated Black man to find an educated Black woman.
Okay.
Because we are so few. And because a lot of brothers just don't go to college. A lot of brothers don't go get the advanced degrees or what have you. Now, of course, depending on what do you call educated? Do you call it bachelor's, master's, or PhD, or just trade? I mean, trade is education as well. Industrialized education. Yeah, that's industrialized education. And like I said, there are plenty of people that make have way less education than I have, make way more money than I do, you know. And of course, in the day and economy in which we live, that no job is safe and secure, you know, from higher education to industrialized education. But the idea is that we put what we perceive as a price. Oh, you're a doctor. Oh God, I know you make a whole lot of money. No, not necessarily so. You know,
exactly. But
you know,
again,
go ahead.
The thing is, you know, the 6-figure guy is what people are after, or as close to it as they can get. So
yeah.
if he's out there, then yeah, they're gonna swarm. They're gonna be looking for him. A lot of ladies are looking for that type of guy. They're not really looking for the guy that's blue collar, like you said, the electrician, the plumber, the tradesman, the carpenter. That's not really glamorous enough. That's not gonna get them the Louis Vuitton, the red bottoms, the you know, the high price meals and things like that. They don't see that. They see from an aesthetic point of view, oh, I want a 6-figure guy, or I want a guy that earns close to that, you know, 90,000, 100,000 a year. That's the type of guy I want, you know. And those guys are the Maurices.
Yeah. Right? Well, yeah. Look at the polarized opposite, if you want to call it opposite.
Yeah.
Maurice is the lawyer, but Jabari, the guy that interested Venetia, he's a minimalist. Blue collar guy, he's minimalist. You know, there's a complete opposite of one another.
Jabari,
but
the
it shows
one that
us, you know,
he works a 9 to 5.
Exactly. Right? Yep.
Works 9 to 5.
But he also works for the. Didn't he say he works for the federal government or something? I think he has a pretty good job. I can't remember the job description, but it seemed to me when I heard.
He said his earnings are capped because he works a job. He's not entrepreneurial like Venetia is. So where she can earn more and you know, things like that, he can't. His pay is capped. So
you know, I mean, and Venetia and Sharice are close to the same age, but you see the perspective and the mindset is completely different between two. Of course, they're both different women, but the idea is that when you're trying to chase the bag in order to get the bag, you know, Sharice, versus, you know, Venetia, she said basically said she's just tired of doing it all by herself. She just want a man that's going to love her for her, and that would take her to different places, you know, what have you.
Right.
You know, it all depends on what you're looking for.
You know what? And here's the thing too. I think we all got to recognize and admit though too. And I think it is important to know yourself in dating and knowing what you're looking for a lifestyle, because some people prefer a certain type of lifestyle. So some people might prefer to go to the football games and the baseball games with their hubby, with the kids, maybe amusement parks, and maybe their most exotic vacation is going somewhere like Mexico or something like that. Whereas other people might prefer, like a Sharice strikes me as a person who like to say, oh, I'm over in Switzerland, I'm over in Italy, I'm in the UK, yeah, I'm going to the Caribbean also this year, so I'm going to take 2 or 3 expensive vacations. And to the point where also that, like you said, you guys both mentioned, and I feel it too, is that she wants to be able to brag about her husband, some, you know, prominent attorney, prominent politician, prominent doctor, something along those lines, as opposed to, like I was saying, these women need to really start seriously looking at men in the trades, looking at your everyday Joe, your everyday guy, because even I had a girlfriend who was like that, and she was like, well, no, I would never look at a guy in the trades. And when I began discussing with her what they earn, and that a lot of them are educated and are great conversationalists and so forth, she was like beginning to kind of move a little bit more in that direction, because for her, being a woman who has advanced degrees, she wants someone that could keep up with her in conversation. She wants someone that she can introduce to her colleagues and feel like they understand that these people aren't speaking a foreign language because they're using all these big 4-syllable words, right? So it just kind of depends on what kind of lifestyle you want to live. I don't know. You have to be honest about that. If you like someone like me, I'm sapiosexual. I have to have a man who is highly intelligent, who can converse on many different levels, who can meet people from all different levels, is not bougie, is not a snob, and can keep me can stimulate my mind, and I can stimulate his mind. But if he's not stimulating my mind, I don't care if he's a doctor or lawyer, That's boring to me. Like that guy Maurice, he would bore the crap out of me. It would have been the week that I would have taken none of the guys if I were Charisse. Like I can't. I
Yeah,
can't
but
witness no
she can't
conversation.
afford to do that, Aubrey. She can't afford to not take no guy. If she don't choose him, she ain't gonna have no one.
Okay, it's a show. It's a show. I must remind myself it's a show. But I'm just saying, you can't make good conversation with me. Okay, the one date they were filming and you were eating, you had your mouth full of food. I can excuse that. I gave him all the passes in the world last week. But Maurice, this week you were very disappointing.
What?
You did not go to school for 7 years to not be a good conversationalist. I'm sorry.
I disagree. I think, when the chemistry's there, then it flows naturally. I don't think they have that type of chemistry where
is that what it is?
Yeah, like he's, they're just meeting and he's clearly a man of few words. And like I said, that suits
was
this
a man
particular
of few
lady.
Words, but he can have a conversation with you though.
About what? Listen, come on. Like Charisse is not a conversationalist either. There's nothing. So you're expecting him to lead the conversation and pursue her. I see the chat. People saying that he's not interested, and
Do you think that's what it is? Is that what it is? He's not interested in her.
Nah, listen, he sniffed her out a long time ago.
Well, she said, you got any question? He said, no. He said, I already know everything I need to know about this conversation.
Exactly. It's quite easy to see.
When the man says he has no questions for you.
No further questions, Your Honor.
I think that's
he said, I know what time you on. Yeah, I know what time
exactly.
you on.
No further questions.
I'm just trying to get through this day.
No further questions. We can turn this over to the
exactly.
jury.
Yeah. We can turn this over to the jury.
And I will bet you one thing: if they get together, his assets will be so protected.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Well, wait a minute. First of all, let's look at this. He's an attorney. He has 4, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4 children. That man has a legacy to leave for his children, for his own flesh and blood. And so if that's the reason why Charisse is out there desperately trying to find this perfect man that has no children, never been married, then I applaud her. That's fine and dandy, but good luck with that crap. Good luck with that crap trying to find a black man, a white man, a Indian man, anybody that's 50 years old, that's heterosexual, never been married, and doesn't have any children at 51. Good luck.
Look at it like this, Aubrey. Look at it like this, Aubrey. I think that he probably used the show for exposure for himself, for his law
That's
firm.
what I'm thinking. That's what I'm beginning to think.
Number 2, and I'm gonna tell you, I don't know if I shared this with you. I'm gonna tell you, like a friend of mine said before. He was a college president, and this was before he retired, and he was the first black president we had at the community college where I was teaching. All right. And the guy said, Doctor, called his last name. He said, Doctor, how is that you're the college president, and you're a single man, and that you don't get involved with the faculty administration? He said, yeah, that's good. He said, yeah. And he said, yeah, I'm single. He said, but I've been married before. He said, but but this ain't my first rodeo. He said, but I'm gonna tell you. He said, I'm the first black president y'all ever had, and y'all pay me. This was back in 2011. He said, y'all pay me about $130,000 a year to be president here. He said, but this is what I learned a long time ago. He said, don't you ever forget this. He said, if you're gonna F up, don't F down. Always mess with somebody that got more to lose than you do.
Now you know what? Now that is a true story. That's true. Don't moving on. I'm about to tell too much now, but you're right. No, you can't. If you're in those high pressure positions, or you planning to be, and it's something a friend's older man told me once when I was still a young girl with milk still on my breath. He said to me, he said, you know what? He said, make your mistakes when you get older. Don't make all your big bad mistakes when you're young, because you'll need your reputation to take you far in your career and in life. You'll need your good reputation. You'll need your good name. So a lot of people think, oh, I can screw up and I'm young, but depending on what field you're in, it's going to matter. It may matter your good name or your lack thereof.
Proverbs 15:1. I think it's Proverbs 15:1. He said, a good name is better to be had than great riches. So, hey,
my father drilled that into me growing up. Your name is important. And you represent your family as a person. You represent yourself, and then you also represent your family. Wives represent their husbands, and husbands represent their wives.
Legacy is what you leave. Integrity is what you. Legacy is what you leave. Integrity is what you have. But reputation is what speaks about who you are.
Right. So as we could thank you for that. And so as we continue on, we got about 3 more points and we'll wrap this thing up. Zadia and Ashley later at the home, with sisterhood and all that. We catch Zadia and Ashley having a relaxed moment. And Ashley begins to discuss her date with Kirsten, but she doesn't call him by name. She's just saying, oh, he's nice. He's this. We had good conversation. And then Zadia asked her, well, what's his name? And she said, I had a date with Kirsten also. And I think the ladies handled that very well. We do know it seems like Ashley and Zadia have more of a friendship and a connection, obviously, than Zadia and Sharice, for example. What did you gentlemen think about the quick conversation between Zadia and Ashley? What did you think about that?
I agree with you. Go ahead, JR. Go ahead. I think I agree with you. They do have great chemistry. However, I wonder, was that production driven to ask what was his name? I thought they knew. I thought they would know who would be matched with, when go out with whom. I don't know. I don't know what the premise of the show. How the show is worked or what have you. I thought they would have known, but both of us are going out with the same guy and what have you. I don't know if they keep it a secret. I guess so. From what the question that was asked, what was his name? I found that was kind of odd question just to ask out of the blue. Well, what was his name? I didn't give you any details other than we had a great time and a great date and what have you. So, wow. What would be the purpose to ask him what was his name?
Well, we know that we got to get that's part of the show. They got to get that out. I'm imagining that maybe going out before they went out, they didn't know they were going out with the exact same guy, but they want us to discover that moment on camera because neither one of them seems surprised. But go ahead.
That's what I think. I think it was a blind date. I think they told them they were going on dates, but they didn't specifically tell them what the names were and who they were going to do it. And then, they were probably told not to share it immediately after coming back, just in case the other person hasn't been out on their date yet. But I felt like they've both come to the realization that they have keepers and they have these blind dates that are going to pop up, and I don't think they're going to step on each other's toes. I think later on in the episode, Ashley said, listen, no guy's going to lose out if they choose any of those ladies because they're all fantastic in their own special way. Not paraphrasing, of course, but so she's, I think there was more of a if you get him, that's cool with me type attitude. Whereas if it was Zadia and Sharice that went out on the same date with the same dude, I think there'll be much more of a rivalry, competitiveness, a little bit of hostility about that.
Okay. All right, very good. Any comeback on that, Sean?
No. JR said it perfectly. Great perspective.
Right. Okay. And so then to our next point, Zadia. Okay, so this is interesting. Zadia and Ashley have a double date with their keepers, right? And we start off with Ashley over getting her bowling shoes on and talking to her date, and she let it be known, which I think this is the right thing to do. I think sometimes as women, we let things slide and then, we build up this resentment inside. So it is good to get an understanding about any miscommunications or lack of communication. So she brought up the fact that she hadn't heard from him in 2 or 3 days. And then he proceeded to tell her, well, no, but I text you 3 times. And she said, well, no, but I didn't receive any text. So he whipped out his phone and he showed her on his phone where his Android maybe didn't connect with her iPhone. What did you guys think about that? And I'm going to go directly to JR first. Okay.
Well, a couple of things jumped out from this particular point, from this perspective. If she hasn't heard from him in a few days, and okay, she's got a problem with it, she definitely went to kind of scold him about that. And I think he tried to reassure her by saying, look, here's the messages in my phone that I sent to you. She, still not believing it, pulls out her phone and says, no, I didn't receive any. But rather than just drop it there and saying, okay, maybe something happened. I can see your messages. Obviously, they didn't come through. Maybe I wasn't in service at the time. Who knows? Let's just move on. No, she wanted to keep jabbing him about that. And then she went further as well. Even during the date, when everybody was having fun bowling, she, after the game was finished, she kept jabbing about what that lack of
looks like they have fun. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And when she's looking at how Zadia and Cameron, they dressed alike, they had chemistry and all this stuff, she even was jabbing him about that too. So, Ashley kind of showed me that she holds grudges too. It wasn't that much of a big deal. I mean, I can see why she would take it that way, but let's be real. She's got a connection with him. She's also got another connection as well at that time. Like, she just finished sending someone home last week. So, she made a big deal out of nothing. It came across.
That's the same thing we talked about.
Well, now I gotta ask you, because let me say this. So you meet a gal, you date a gal, you like a gal, you have a connection, and I'm just gonna say your friends. We're gonna say your friends. With the quotation marks. So, like, guys that you hang out with, that you're cool with. Do you feel like most of the men would have called or text this woman on a daily basis to kind of, or even call to kind of get to know this person, if they're in this process where they say they both want to find a special connection with one person? What do you think?
I think that it depends. If they really like her, yeah, they probably will be up in the conversation, phone calls, want to meet up, things like that. He said that he's not really a phone guy. He would rather, he's much more about being in person. But he sent the messages. They just didn't go through. So he did text her. It wasn't like he was umming and ahhing and he didn't have proof. He showed proof that he did actually make attempts to contact her. That's the difference. He didn't air her. He didn't ghost her. He didn't blank her for 2 days. He sent the messages, but she didn't receive them. But then she went on to completely lambast him in front of the other
leave it to the British to have such good vocabulary. Lambasting her.
To completely put him on blast in front of the other couple, trying to embarrass and shame the guy. Listen, that's not a good sign so early on. Like, it's water under the bridge once he's shown you that he tried. Move on. Like, you're gonna hold it against the man for the whole episode. That's insecure. Very insecure. Yeah. Why do you need reassurance every single day? Yeah. You need to work on that.
And should she have called him if she was missing him after 2 or 3 days?
You don't know what could have happened to him.
I would have picked up the phone and said, "Hey, baby, what's going on?" I'm sorry.
It works both ways. The phone works both ways.
Exactly.
It works both ways.
Exactly.
So I mean, there's a lot to unpack. I mean, I don't know, and I've been reading the comments along with and chatting on the show. I don't know whether it's deep-seated issues from the time when she was with Alex, Courtney, whatever his name may be.
Don't trigger me by saying Alex, but go ahead.
It could very well be that. It could very well be that insecurity from that I'm going through the same stuff that I went through before. And she same stuff. It could very well be it, because how long ago was the Atlanta season? What, 2 years ago? A year and a half ago? 2 years ago? So it could very well be that. I don't know. And like JR was saying, I mean,
about out there in the chat. You miss Ryan. Get out of here.
I call him. If the man, like JR said, if the man showed you that he tried to contact you, and you didn't get the message, just let it go. Just let it go at that moment.
That you know what I would have you know what I would have did, and it's just me, because I can be a little extra at times too. But I would have gave him a hug, and I would have said, "Oh, baby, I didn't know. It really didn't come through." Because you and I were talking about this earlier. It is a fact. I don't know why people think that technology is 100%, but it is a fact that I have sent texts and people have not received them. Sean, you said that somebody maybe received it the very next day or something to that nature. I say that, I know I've sent them and did the same thing, shown a friend. And this was not in a romantic sense, but, we just came together and I said, well, what happened? I text you, they didn't receive it, or they text me and I didn't receive it. Technology is not 100%. Technology is not 100%. It really actually isn't. And I think that for me, if it was a guy, I was really, because the one thing I will say, I give Ashley credit. I feel like she made such a big deal about this, to your point, JR. Unfortunately, she made such a big deal about it because she actually likes this guy, right? But to your point also, she will run this guy away because, like you said, it's one thing to talk to him one-on-one, but when you start embarrassing your man or your guy that you're seeing, because he's not her man, but the guy that you're dating, when you start embarrassing him and bringing all this up in front of other people, now you've gone too far. You gone too far.
That part right there. Because you ain't, number one, you ain't gonna loud talk me. Number two, you're not gonna embarrass me in public. So I was just
Sean got rules. Sean got rules. He's got a PhD and he got rules, baby. Right. All right now.
I would just get up and walk right on out. I mean, and I think that's what I would just get up right and walk. Excuse me, I'm done filming. You ain't gonna sit and talk to me like a little boy. And no, I'm not a boy. I'm a grown man.
And you're right, because I think Ashley has a bunch of younger brothers, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody out in the chat. Check me if I'm wrong or clarify, but I believe I'm not
your little brother. I'm not your little brother. I'm not your little brother.
And we women, we cannot do that.
I'm not your little brother. So I mean, look.
If you got little brothers, you cannot go on a date and expect to date somebody and treat him like your little brother. You really can't. I agree with you, JR. No. I'm with you. Like, we don't always agree, and that's fine, because we're gonna have varying viewpoints. But from my viewpoint and my stance, when she went to the point where she was still talking about it in front of Zadia and Cameron, I was like, she made a big mistake there.
I mean, to say something is hurtful. Like, it looks like they having fun. They having more fun than we are.
Exactly.
So, you'd have been you the one that Debbie Downer. You'd have pissed on this parade right here.
Exactly. Not the Debbie Downer in the group. Oh Lord.
Yeah. She the one that brought it down, the energy down. It looked like they were having fun over there.
Exactly, and you know what? He tried to make amends for it. He said, you know what? I'll do better. I'll try next time. He did. I'll call you. And it still didn't stop her from doing it.
Expecting him to do at this point. It's nothing more. The man said he was sorry. He will do. I was like, you know what? In the whole scheme of black men, she got a lot more than most women ever get out of a man. Like, I'm sorry. He's on television. He's saying he's sorry. He messed up. I will do better. He showed you his proof. Like, can we just move forward? Exactly. Ashley,
I'll tell you what I said on another platform.
What's that?
I said this. Maybe the guy that's the assistant principal, he probably wiping his way. He said, "Woo, dang, and I'm glad that ain't me. Woo, I'm glad it's not me." The guy that was the assistant principal that she went to got some gelato with, got a bike ride date. He probably like, "Ooh, I'm glad that ain't me."
Right.
The show, because because I wouldn't want to deal with no woman like that. I would not. I mean, number one, I'm too old for this stuff. I ain't your little boy, and you're not going to emasculate me. You're not going to talk down to me. You're not going to loud talk me. You're not going to put me down like that. Like JR said, the man had apologized and he said he'll do better. That should have been the end of the story right then. But now you got to keep going on and on and on. Especially even vice versa. If a man did that to a woman,
right. Oh no, definitely not. You're not gonna do that to me, because I was gonna say I definitely wouldn't do it to him. But no, you definitely not gonna do that to me. Like, I definitely would have walked away. No.
Exactly. Yeah. If a guy was on a date and he aired something that happened between you, oh, you know what? Look, she responded to his calls. Look how nice they look as a couple. If he started saying that to her, we would be on his neck, right?
Yeah.
So there's an element of self-awareness that needs to be there. Like she could have just dropped that, but it speaks to something else going on.
Okay, wait a minute. I got a question. So, a viewer and a fellow podcaster, Kimberly Reviews, who was just up here with me. Guys, if you haven't seen our video that we just did on Married at First Sight, the latest edition, guys, go check that out. That's in the library. It's up now. But Kimberly says, Ashley had a good point. So this guy, I can't think of his name. That's not Cameron. Who's
Donald?
Yep, thank you. Oh, no wonder I can't remember that name. Donald. Donald didn't call, but he also didn't send her a message over on IG. She's saying that maybe that guy's not that into her. But what do you guys think about that? Could he have sent her a message over on IG? Because all the young folks is over on IG 24/7.
Yeah, he could have, but again, he could have. When he sent those messages and he didn't hear anything back, he could have thought that she wasn't responding to him as either, And like Sean said, the telephone is two-way. If she hadn't heard from him, how did she know that something hadn't happened that was serious? She could have checked in on him
too.
Yeah. So what do you think?
Because I tell you, just like I told a young lady one time before, I was living in Alabama. I said, look, we're in this long distance relationship. You in Virginia, I'm here in Alabama. I said, you're the same distance from me as I am from you. I mean, whatever that meant, right? I'm the same. You are the same distance from me as I am from you. So that means that the telephone works both ways. If you call me and I don't call you right, if I don't answer, I'll call you right back. Or you can call me again. I'm not doing anything on you. You agreed to be in this relationship just like I did. I told you I'm not cheating on you. And therefore, I gave you my word. So therefore, it is what it is.
Well, wait a minute. So the problem with that relationship at that time was that she felt like you weren't calling her enough? I'm not understanding.
She's like, well, I call you. You didn't ask me. What was I supposed to think? I said, I don't care what you think. I told you. I told you.
I thought I was old and dating. Oh my gosh.
I said, I told you. I said, if I don't call you back right away, I will call you back. I will call you back. I'm not gonna sit here and be. I mean, because I believe in having integrity with one. Because I don't want it to come back on me.
Right.
I don't want you. I treat you the way I would want you to treat me. The idea is that I'm not gonna sit here and treat you bad. Because I know if I treat you bad, then the law of reciprocity, like, what goes around comes around, that is going to come back on me. I'm not going to do that. Reaping what you sow. So, I mean, I don't want to eat that fruit.
Right. I think we got some really good conversation going on here in the chat. I got to read some of these. So High Vibe says that she feels like Ashley is making him pay for the mistakes of others from her past. High Vibe. I agree. I really do agree. Now, Mimi says on Ashley's side, well, Ashley wasn't loud, though. I guess she's talking about when they were doing the double date and when they were all in each other's presence.
Well, regardless if you're loud or not, the thing is just
you have to be in front of people. That's the point. He was in front of people. It wasn't whether she was the volume. Yeah. It was the fact that there was an audience there that didn't need to know that business. It was between them two.
Yeah. I have to.
That's a private conversation.
I with the guys on this one. On the he said,
that's
she
a private
said.
Conversation.
I gotta agree. I gotta agree with the he's, the hims, the guys.
Yeah.
The hims.
And they already addressed it privately, right. And then she wanted to bring it out into the open for Zadia and her guy to hear it. That's not cool.
That's not cool. And then Kimberly says one last one, I think, on this thread. Kimberly says, we're expecting a little bit too much from Ashley. She could have called him too. That's what we said, but she's immature. I think you got a bullseye on that one. She does come across as immature. What would you guys say? Do you agree, disagree that Ashley could possibly be a little bit immature?
Could very well be. I mean, I think it, like to the comment before that, a couple of comments before that, it stems back to making him pay for what other people did. And sometimes you're in a relationship with Fred, but you're upset with what
what let's say Alex, for example. Let's say what Alex did to you.
What Alex did, yeah. You're upset with Donald. You're upset with Donald, but you're taking on with Donald because of what Alex did.
Some will get it, some won't.
And you're actually fussing at Donald, but you're thinking about Alex at the same time. You're
correct
Alex because you're still mad with Alex.
Right.
Aubrey's throwing them subliminal shots at Alex.
I'm having a fun time on my podcast. This is part of my
I was snotting and crying for you when you were in the hospital. You were in the hospital. I cried for you. I cried.
I ain't cried for nobody recently. But listen, this is Kimberly to you specifically, Sean. Speaking on our she wanted to know. She said you don't care. She said you would have been blocked, but I appreciate
that part. And I'll keep that. I think what you said,
I caught that too. To your point, Kimberly, it did come across. You said you don't care what your girl thinks, but how can she be your girl and you not care about what she thinks? But I think you didn't mean it in the way that Kimberly and I probably took it. You're saying that you have given her a vow that you two are in a committed relationship and your word is your bond, and you're a mature, honest man. I think that's what you were saying.
And because see that goes to the fact. Okay, the thing was there were problems of insecurity in her past relationships that bled over into our relationship. That she was used to men cheating on her, and I guess she felt like she had not completely flushed that out dealing with me. And so that's the reason why. I mean, I say I care less what you think, It might have sound crass, it might have sound rude, but that's the only way I could tell her. I said, look, I'm not doing anything on you. And I guess she was looking for the other shoe to drop. And so because things had gone wrong for so long that she was not used to things going right. That, well, this is going too good. This is going too
that
good.
part.
So some people will self-sabotage.
They do. Yeah, they absolutely do.
They do.
JR, you were saying?
Yeah, I think that's very that could be a very common scenario, right? If people don't recover fully from what they've been through previously, they bring in external feelings that are nothing directly to do with what you did, but something may trigger that or bring that out of them. And I think Ashley, she teared up on this episode, and she may be more immature, and not in a disrespectful way, but I think she's more playful, more youthful in her mannerisms than the other ladies.
Okay.
So again, she's a bubbly person. I just think that she was way too hard on the guy for what the actual infraction was, right? For the offense, yeah. And again, I just want to say, I wasn't talking about her being loud in terms of raising her voice and shouting at him. I'm saying it was a private conversation that they had, and that was enough. But to then drag it out to every single time she's with the guy now, she has to keep bringing up the fact that he didn't message her. She brought it up about 3 times. So she can't let it go. And that's just insecure, sometimes, and this is just a little bit of tea for you ladies out there. Sometimes when you think that us guys are running around doing things and talking to girls and doing all this wild stuff, a lot of the time we're just chilling by ourselves, just in our own thoughts or hobbies or doing other things. We ain't living like a lot of you perceive. So, maybe she thought he was up to some wrongdoing or whatever, but no, he literally showed her the proof. These are the messages I sent you. And, that's it. That's all he can do. If, you could say, he could have phoned her. She could have phoned him too. So they're both culpable for that.
Right. And you know what? The only thing that just occurred to me, because production does like to be messy. Okay. Can we agree that production does like to be messy for drama's sake, for rating? The only thing that just now occurred to me is that just possibly, so now if this is the case, Ashley, and I know you're watching, I know you are, because I'm gonna have you on for an interview later. But if this is the case, if this is the case that perhaps it was filmed out of order, and they took it, they framed it, they edited it out of order, so that they actually met and the group was together first, and that was her first time mentioning to him was in front of those two people, and then later afterwards they had the conversation. Could that possibly be the case, guys?
That could be it too. That could be it too. Like I say, yeah, with TV, it's edited for whatever narrative you're trying to spin, and so that could very well be it. I didn't even think about that. To make ratings, to make it look like drama in order to sell the show. So I don't know. We don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg. I don't know between the two. What happened?
Well, I think it could be both. Yeah. What is your thought on that, JR? On it possibly being an editing where they edited out of order, they took it out of order.
Yeah. It wouldn't be surprising at all. That's what it's for. Reality TV is an element of reality and a lot of it for TV, right? If they know that there's an audience that like drama, like that type of stuff, they're gonna do things to play to that the audience. Yeah. So they probably prompted her to say, okay, listen, bring it up again. Could have done that.
Because there was a question. And Roro has a good point. So maybe she's looking for an excuse to make Kurtzman as a new keeper. It could be that too. But my mind keeps going back to the question that was asked the first episode when Ashley asked the question. She asked the question of ladies, what do you think about what the people are saying about our seasons in social media? So, I don't know. Maybe it could very well be, and if they look at it, I'm sure production looks at it, and so this is how they're going to frame it and film it, to make it appeal to the people, to have people in social media have something for them to talk about.
Right. That's true. That is true. And on to finally, not last but not least, guys, they showed us some clips from next week's episode. We see that Ashley, and I'm sorry, I left out a very crucial part, and we don't have to linger on this too long, but what we had was the women got to talk to their keepers and tell them whether they were going to keep the keepers or whether what's that saying they're using on this show now, because they have a term that they use when they X the guys out.
Going a different direction.
Thank you, Sean. I think I'm going to go in a different direction. But from what we saw, so Vern kept Jabari. Charisse kept Maurice because he got the Louis on, my God. And of course, Zadia kept Cameron because the two seemed to be very smitten with one another. And then they left us off on the cliffhanger, which was Ashley, whether or not she was going to keep Donald. So,
the Donald.
So we see in the next week's cliffhangers, I was about to say, Ashley is breaking down. It seems like she's talking to, I think, the matchmaker, Tamika, and she's saying how it seems to be getting to her. Like what we talked about her past, how men have treated her. She doesn't seem to be completely healed from those letdowns and expectations and things that didn't go quite her way. So we see her breaking down, having an emotional breakdown next week. And then also on another note, we see Vern. And let's talk about that first, and then we'll come to the last part. Guys, what did you think about the previews for next week with Ashley's breakdown? What did you think? Any thoughts?
Well, it goes back to that, people just automatically jump at a chance to be on TV, but the idea is that now you can't run from your demons. Are you still plagued and perplexed behind what happened in the past? How much of a fair shake are you giving a person because you're not healed from what you went through? So maybe her past is caught up with her.
Yeah, it's beginning to look like it. It's beginning to look like it. Like she's very emotional for whatever reason. Perhaps the reason could be because she enjoyed the date with was it Walter? Was her date with Walter this week? Yeah. So maybe perhaps talking about Ashley still. Her date with
Ashley.
Kirsten. Yeah, no, her date was with Kirsten.
Kirsten.
Yeah. So it's possible that she had a good time with Kirsten. They did seem to vibe, but she is also vibing with the Donald. So she's kind of having, as a woman, she's kind of having that executive decision, the power to pick one and lose the other one. Maybe she's struggling with that. So maybe it's not what we may think it is, but I don't know. Any thoughts about it, JR? What you think she's being emotional about next week?
Not sure what exactly it is, obviously, but I feel like she has, she broke down on this episode, and right at the end where she sat down with Donald, she got up and she started crying. So I get the impression she is either holding back something or going through some things that she isn't quite fully recovered from. And sometimes it's difficult to recover from some things depending on what it is. Mm-hmm. So but yes, the key thing is, are you able to control it or get on top of it to the point where it doesn't spill over into your new situation, your new relationship? Because that guy, the new guy, has nothing to do with that. And he shouldn't really be in a position where you're breaking down. How does he console you without knowing the full details? And going into detail is just rehashing what you went through with somebody else.
Yeah.
So, it can go in different ways.
And JR and Sean, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but no man or woman for that matter wants to be in a position where they're trying to justify what someone else did wrong to you, because you didn't do the wrong, but this other 2 guys ago, 2 relationships ago, or 1 relationship ago, a guy did you dirty. You found out he was cheating with your best friend. No guy wants to, if it's the new guy and he didn't do those things to you, no guy wants to have to stand and take his punishment for something that he did not do.
Exactly. You get blamed for things. It's common. Like I've experienced that a lot, right? So what happens is, if you've been hard done by, someone's done you wrong or whatever, like you need to resolve that issue with them or move past it when you've stopped dealing with them, so that you're fresh to go into a new slate with a new relationship, right? Again,
that's true.
If they haven't managed to get the healing that they need or take the time that they need to get over things, you don't really have business getting into a new relationship. That's how I see it, because it's going to potentially lead to arguments back and forths that are emotionally charged from what you're carrying over. It may not necessarily be what the situation is between you and the new person. You're emotionally charged from holding things back from what you've been carrying before. And that's going to be potentially a volatile situation.
That's true.
Right.
That's very true. I mean, I'm thinking, thank you, Ravine, and all Kimberly and everybody else for the comments. I'm like this. I'm not Jesus. I'm not atoning for another man's sins. I mean, hey, look, I'm not sitting here to carry. I'm not trying to carry somebody else's sins, based on what they did to you. But my job is to love you through it, but not to be held accountable for it, So and I think it's an unfair burden for a man to look to a woman to put on his present woman what his past woman did, or a woman to put on her present man what her past man did. And I think both people need to come with a clean slate, and because we're both grown, and we're trying to handle this in a mature fashion, because we're not going to still having this year's problem, next year's problems, this year's problem, last year's problem this year, next time. So we're not going to have that. So because it will never get better, because number one, it will never get better because number one, that's the hurdle that a person can't seem to cross. Because every time we do something, it reminds you what Fred did. Well, look, I'm Sean. I'm not Fred.
Or Alex.
Every time we get to this hurdle, or Alex. Yeah, in this case, Alex. Okay, and Alex. you know, and like I said earlier, you can get out of it, but can you get it out of you?
Uh-huh.
Ooh, I love that. I love that.
You know,
I love that. That's
I mean,
powerful.
Because you know, how many times have we seen people get out of prison only to go back? Not because they missed jail so much, but it's because their body came out of prison, but their mind was still back in there.
Ooh,
you know,
I know
so
someone that happened to. Yes.
Yes. So I mean, they do something to go right back. You know,
they
so
did.
people do the same thing in relationships. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people do the same thing in relationships because their body came out, but their head didn't come out.
Exactly. So they go back looking for what they felt comfortable with previously, that's why they keep picking the same type of person over and over again.
Yeah, you on to something, Sean. Teach now. Teach. Go ahead and teach.
You know, I mean, like I said, I ain't trying to preach to nobody, but I mean, it's the same thing when you read the Bible. It's the same thing like when you read the Bible. You know, God sent Moses into Egypt to deliver them out of Egypt, but they kept saying, well, "We were better off in. Well, did you bring us out of here to kill us?" You know, their bodies came out of Egypt, but their mind couldn't. You know, so you know, we were better off. We were eating leeks and onions by the water pots, and now y'all were making bricks without a straw. That's what it was. And so sometimes what happens is people's dysfunction becomes functional to them, to the point that when you present them functionality, it looks dysfunctional to them because they're used to dysfunction because that has become their functionality.
Exactly. They're so used to dealing with the chaos and dysfunction that it's now normalized. So when they get into a relationship where there is no dysfunction, they feel like they have to create it in order for it to be a normal relationship.
It gotta be, yeah. You know, how many times people say, "Well, he beat me because he loved me. He beat me because he loved me. He cheated on me because he loved me. And if he didn't love me, he wouldn't do me this way." You know, I mean, he only showed
my
this because
father
he
used
loves
to
me.
teach me that. My father used to teach me that.
Yeah.
He didn't have the term dysfunctional relationships,
Mm-hmm.
and he made it clear to me what he was talking about. Like my father used to say to me when I was a young girl, long before I started dating, that there were women that actually thought that unless a man hit them, that man did not love them. And I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, say what, Dad? What you saying? What you talking about, Dad? We would laugh.
Yeah.
And I didn't really get it, and I didn't really believe it until I was probably in my 30s, and I literally saw a woman who was doing my hair, and over my hair, when she got away from my hair, her and her guy were going at it, and I was like, uh-oh, Dad, I see exactly what you're talking about. These people, like some people are so used to and accustomed to dysfunctional relationships. Maybe they saw it in the home they grow up in, abused, their mothers were abused, their fathers abused their mother, or some other man outside of, that was living with or coming by, whatever. There are so many people that have taken that dysfunctional that was in their life, and instead of them healing from it, and instead of them looking for a new norm, and having a renewal of the mind, they just stayed in that old mindset. Like you said, it's like a prison. It's really like a prison, and that's sad. That is so sad.
I mean, because abuse to me, abuse is just abnormal use. If you grew up in a home where plates were made to go up against that wall and slammed on the table and used as weapons against folks, but when you eat at somebody's house where everybody just eating from the plate and you go and wash the dishes, you're gonna say, what's wrong with these people? Why aren't they throwing the plates up against the wall? Why aren't they slamming the plates on the table? And why are they using these plates as weapons? Why? Because that's not your normal, and so that normal looks abnormal.
Yeah. Normal is and that, you bring up a very key thing. It's good to find out the person you're dating and interested in. It's best to find out as early as possible what is actually that person's norm. And sometimes how you do that, the better way to do that is, besides asking questions and conversation, also is by visiting their home, their parental home, meeting their parents, meeting their siblings. And you will begin to see that norms are different. Like I never forget, I was dating a guy, and I went by. He took me by to meet his parents, and while I was talking to the mother and asking her a very specific question that was clearly directed at her, her husband jumped in and decided to answer for her, and she was quiet as a church mouse. I was like, okay. I see where he gets that controlling nature from. His dad is a control freak, hence he's a control freak also. Like, oh no, this is not for me. This is not for me. You know, but
because I mean, like I said,
go ahead.
Every seed is going to reproduce after its own kind. You know, you're not going to plant an apple seed and grow an orange tree. You know,
exactly.
You can't get an orange from an apple tree, and you know, can you get an apple from an orange tree? So yeah,
the Bible says,
and like I said, I don't. They're fruit, yeah. I don't know whether it's built into this show or not. Whether you get to meet the family or not. I know they got close friends coming, but I don't know whether you get to meet the family or not, because that's the great indicator right there. You know, because you know sometimes people, very rarely are people different from their family. Yeah, very rarely.
You're right. You're literally right, and I'm not saying it's all the time, because I do know people that are different from, but you're right. It definitely has a bearing. But let's go on to this last point before we wrap it up. So in the closing, in the next week's episodes, we saw Vern talking to Jabari, and she was telling Jabari that listen, I'm gonna do what's best for Vern. I'm all about living to my highest fulfillment, and I think that, you know, we're working out well right now, but should you know, I hate to say a better deal, and this wasn't the word she used. She was much more tactful about it. But basically, if a better deal comes along, I'm gonna be saying goodbye to you, bye boy, and I'm gonna go with the other guy. So and Jabari, he was basically saying in the confessional, he was saying that he doesn't rank women like that. He doesn't play those kind of games. But now I don't know what show he thought he signed up for, but it's a whole TV show. So there's a little bit of gamesmanship involved in all of this situation. What did you gentlemen think? You first, Sean.
Field and Aries 2.0.
Say what now?
Field and Aries 2.0.
Field and Aries 2.0.
Oh, 2.0. Okay, I get you now. I didn't. Okay, Field and Aries. I don't think he's Lord.
Hey.
I don't think he's over there filling out the applications like Phil was, but who knows?
Just saying it in a different way. Just saying it in a little bit different way.
Ooh, I didn't take it like that. I don't think she's so much looking at the coinage of it all. I think that it sounds to me like, you know, she got ribbed so bad probably about the fact that she stuck with that rapper guy of hers, Joel, from her season with Ron was in, right? That this Louisiana boy turned Houston boy who decided to be a rapper at 40 plus. Like, really? Seriously? I think she took so much ribbing about that she's determined not to make the same mistake. So I do kind of get that about her. I don't know. As a woman, I want to have high integrity, but I'm not so sure I'm going to make clear my plans to him the way she did. But what do you guys say? Sean, you were saying.
I don't know what the end of the show looks like. I've seen the end of Ready to Love. I don't know what the end of this show looks like. I mean, I don't know whether there'll be a reunion and we get to see, you know, because nobody, I mean, people do get sent off, not voted off, but people get sent away. And yes, she does not want to make the mistake like she made with Joel, you know, and that could have shaken her a bit. And she probably sees it could possibly go that way with Jabari. And so she probably was just setting it straight right now. Look, before I get all invested, it's a 5-hour trip between New Orleans and Houston. I'm not going to make this move. You know, if this is the way it's going to be, I'm not going to make this move. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. All right, JR, your thoughts on the Venetia, on the Field and Aries 2.0 as Sean so aptly named it.
I like their connection. It seems organic. Yeah. There's something about that connection I like. That I can see why she would keep him hanging around. Like, you know, she would choose him. But it's still early days. And I agree with Sean. I don't know what the end of the show looks like. I don't know who's going to pick who. I think there's still tons more people to make appearances. From what we've seen, you know, we're going to have reoccurring appearances from some of the previous RTL cast members. So they may stir things up a little bit. But yeah, Venetia knows what she wants. And one thing I think with her guy is that he seems stable in terms of his occupation, even if it isn't a you know, anything glamorous, but he seems like a stable, solid dude. He said he can cook. That's something they can bond over. They have a few things in common. I think she is attracted to that southern hospitality, that southern gentleman. And you know, she seems to obviously indicate that she's beginning to notice he's a bit possessive. He doesn't enjoy her going out on other dates with other guys and things like that.
Speaking on Jabari now, right?
Yeah. So I think Jabari is where her feelings are at the moment. She picked him, and I can see why. The new guy, she doesn't really know him. He's only just a blind date, and I think the connection with Jabari is probably stronger than where it should be at this moment in time. Not just on her part. I think he's very interested in her too, and that's why I think they match.
So you do agree that the two of them, Jabari at this point, Jabari and Vern, are matching up pretty well?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Oh, okay. And would you agree with that assessment, Sean?
I agree with it. I mean, you know, I see it that, like JR was saying, that probably my man Jabari is going to become a little bit too possessive, and that probably, as we see the episodes go on, that's probably going to come out even more and more, you know. And I think sometimes with some men, it's like, okay, it's good for us to go out on multiple dates with multiple women, but I can't see my woman. That's my woman. When I claim my woman, that's my woman. And she can't be going out with all these dudes, you know. And she's gonna choose me. So I think that's gonna be problematic for them. But it's going real good right now. But eventually, I think that's gonna creep up even more with Jabari's issue, his self-esteem issue.
That's a good point, because you're right that you bring up the double standard, that old double standard, and that men can be in their feelings and be, as JR said, possessive, territorial would be another word for it. You know, Jabari is maybe feeling her and doesn't want anybody to swoop her up or for her to choose anybody else. So we're going to have to see how that goes with that, because she is determined this time around not to make the mistakes that she made on Ready to Love Houston season. So with that being said, sorry, go ahead.
What's that? I don't foresee it being any more blow-ups between the women. I think it's going to be now the women with the guys. I think it's going to be a blow-up between the women and the guys, the potential dates, you know, that they have. I think that's where the friction is going to come next.
That makes sense. Actually, because right, because now the guys have gotten comfortable, and maybe Jabari, and maybe I just thought about something. Maybe Vern is telling Jabari that too, because some people have commented in other lives that Jabari seems to be feeling a little bit comfortable now that he's escaped a couple of times where he's been moved on to the next round, if you will, for lack of a better term. So maybe he should kind of stay on his toes, because sometimes when you guys get comfortable and think that we don't have any other options, y'all get to slacking. Y'all get to slacking too bad.
That's true, but
we do.
But That's true. It does happen like that sometimes, but let's be real. If you've been saved twice, you're going to feel more comfortable with the person because they've chosen you over two other guys. And if you didn't and you stayed guarded and didn't, you stayed in that same state that you were in when you first met, then you'll be getting comments like, oh, you never open up. And how come you haven't let your hair down? Or, what's up with you? So, Jabari, he rightfully would feel relieved that he hasn't been sent home yet. And he still has a good enough connection with Venetia, for her to stay liking him. So, I think it's just potato, tomato, tomato. At the end of the day, they like each other, and that's all that matters at this point. It's still early. He could have gone home twice.
Yeah,
he hasn't. So there's an air of confidence that comes with that. And I think with the territorial aspect, I do think he needs to drop that, because, a lot of guys wouldn't have a good feeling about their lady dating other guys, but this is still early. She's not his girl. The process is she's got to go through, some of these guys to get to know them, get to date them, and eventually choose who she wants to be with, if anybody. And this is only episode 3. There's like 25 guys apparently. We've only met like 4 or 5 of them.
Right. You know what? And another thing about it, did you notice, JR, that on this week that it was the guy who Venetia went out with, not Jabari. So I think that's Walter, right?
Walter, yeah.
Walter, right. Did you guys notice that in that date with Walter, while they were cooking, that they even discussed the idea of what would it look like? And he said, if I were to move to Houston, and she said, or if I were to move from Houston to New Orleans. So I think that's interesting. And I wonder, so that triggered in my mind, what is the conversation that Venetia's having with Jabari, since she clearly seems to really be attracted to Jabari? Are they having conversations related and centered around something that's going to be very crucial? If they decide that they are going to give this thing a real go, what are the parameters, when and where and how and who moves where? All of those things have to be worked out, because she said that's definitely a conversation.
Of course, logistics.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
She's got a family that, she's got a family, kids, and she can't just uproot and take, a massive gamble. She has to be very secure in the guy that she chooses. And I think we touched on that in the first episode. She needs a guy that's going to be very solid and stable and able to accommodate her and her kids too. Like it's common sense. She's gonna look for those qualities in a guy. I don't know whether Jabari has that yet, but
I think Venetia has the most investment because she has children. None of the other 3 women have children.
Very good point. Very good point. And some are underage too, right?
And some in the age, and then the other thing, I questioned. I said, well, I wonder how hard, fast is the rule. Do you have to move to New Orleans? Because this is just me. I find it hard for a woman that's already established in her craft, her business. Like Venetia has a salon, just to uproot and then move to New Orleans and have to develop a whole new clientele, because I doubt if anybody from Houston is going to go over to New Orleans just to get their hair done. No woman. They might. I'm not sure. But
it's not even the same economic opportunities in Louisiana as there are in Houston, Texas.
Louisiana is a very poor state, and New Orleans drives the economy for that whole city.
Exactly.
Because of the industry in New Orleans versus New Orleans, probably Shreveport maybe, and Baton Rouge, but everywhere else, dire poverty.
Rural and poor.
Louisiana, very rural and poor. And so I doubt, I really doubt, now, if you had taken some women probably in their 20s, put them on the show, maybe.
That'd be different. They're unestablished.
Maybe. Yeah. So, but to ask these women that are dang near 40s to just, will you move for love? I think that's big of a gamble than I mean, I just don't see the premise of that. I mean, I don't know whether they well thought this out or not. I don't know. Maybe they did take it to a calculation. I don't know.
Production being messy.
Production being messy. Yeah.
Because they all know what you and I are saying is that Louisiana is a very poor state. Like out of the 50 states, I don't know where it fits in with Mississippi and a couple of other southern states that are very.
I think it's poorer than West Virginia and Mississippi. Yeah.
Woo, child. Anyway, and I'm not, guys, please don't get offended if you happen to live in Louisiana or New Orleans, because I love New Orleans. I go there, have a great time. Yeah. Food is good, but would I want to move?
But that's not all of Louisiana. Yeah,
no, it's not. It's not. You're right, because it's carrying the boatload for the whole state. So no, I just think that, and to your point, Bernicia has the most out of all four ladies in the fact that she has 4 children. 3 or 4. I'm sorry, 3 or 4 daughters, and 2 are underage. So I think it's 3. So no, I think that's a very good point. But I love the fact that Walter brought up, would he move to Houston? Because I think if he's smart, and I believe he is, he could see that as an opportunity, because that's coming up for him, coming from New Orleans. That's coming up. So
yeah. I mean, so I mean, it's a whole lot of variables you have to question. I know you have to go. It's a whole lot of variables you have to question. I mean, we're just projecting as to where this show could go, because this is only the first season. We don't know whether it'll be another season after this or not. I don't know.
I suspect there will be. Yeah. But to move it to a more thriving city, like if the ladies would have went to DC and not had Zadi, because that's her home. But they had moved to DC and taken the same ladies to DC, for example. Now that's a thriving city where people could say, "Oh yeah, I can see my salon doing very well here," because there are lots of middle class Black women who are going to come to my salon and get their hair done.
But then, if you ain't from DC, it's kind of hard to fit in DC. So I mean,
that's what they say. That's what my daughter tells me. She's in that circle, and that's what she tells me. It's a very cliquey circle.
I'm from the DMV area, and it's kind of hard to fit in if you ain't from there. It's a city that will swallow people up. It's not a large city, but it's an expensive city. It's an expensive city. Yeah,
right. That's what she told me, and that's what I see when I'm there. It's very expensive, But to your point, though, I think to me, and I know that where's that saying, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Like that's for New York City.
That's right.
But I think that people that have the right gumption and have the right formula for their business model, those who work remotely, who can work anywhere in the world and still check in to work through their laptop computer. I think DC or some of the more thriving cities, Houston, Miami, in Atlanta, those are cities where, to me, if they're going to do the second, season 2, they need to look at those places and not have people go to a place where, because that's going to be hard. That's going to be hard to get somebody to sell somebody on leaving a thriving town, a thriving state to go to another state where it's not thriving.
Yeah. So,
but guys, I want to thank you. I want to thank you, Shine. You could tell the people where you're welcome. If you want to tell the people where they can find you, because apparently you are becoming a fan favorite on all these YouTube streets out here. So,
thank you.
Where to find
I'm not a content creator like you. I tip my hat to you.
I got a feeling you're gonna be tipping on our heels, on JR and our heels. Don't you think so, JR?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, you can find me on Instagram at my Instagram is SANDRES1906. So SANDRES1906. That's my Instagram, and you can find me on Facebook. My picture's up there. My first and last name, SHAUN, last name STOKES, and those are 2 platforms you can find me on. And I would love to communicate with you, and we'll have love to hear from you. But anyway, thank you. And JR, I would love to find me a Black British woman if I can. Thank you.
Oh, Lord. What you got to say to that, JR? Maybe JR has an available single sister. This man has a whole PhD over here.
No, my sister's taken.
No, I'm too old for it. I'm too old for
it. Old enough. I didn't hear
I said
you.
my sister's taken, but she's old enough, but she's taken. Yeah, she's in a relationship. But there are plenty of ladies here that you probably might like, Sean. But you have to come over and obviously see for yourself. But yeah, like it's definitely a difference between the two continents, the two countries in the ladies that you'll find.
Have you visited
Mimi just asked me a question.
Okay. Yes, I put it up there.
Mimi just asked me a question. Mimi, I am 50 years young. I'm 50 years young. So.
Oh, I was about to say 38, 39.
Yeah, I'm 50 years young. So I attributed it to God 11. I don't smoke, don't drink, don't sip, don't chew, don't hang with those that do. So that's just me.
You gotta say that one more time for those of us in the slow section. Say that one more time about the sipping and the.
I don't smoke it. I don't smoke it. I don't smoke it. I don't drink. I don't sip it. I don't chew, and I don't hang with those that do. So I told you, Aubrey. I said I grew up apostolic, like you did. I grew up in an apostolic church.
You heard the story in reverse. I grew up Pentecostal, and the guy that
Pentecostal.
They're saying with the commission with the blue eyes. Yeah, he liked me. And he wanted me to meet.
Carl.
He wanted me to meet his mom, but his mom said, "No, we don't do Pentecostal because we're apostolic."
Who talking?
I was so heartbroken. We couldn't even go on our first date.
Which one are you talking about, Keith or Carl? Carl, Keith. Keith's dad was a bishop, and
what was he with the blue eyes?
His dad was blue, light skinned guy, not Fred.
Yeah,
not
light skin, very light skin. Yeah.
It's probably either real tall thing guy.
Very tall, very tall. We met at a Christian roller skating rink back in the day. Carl Reed. Yeah, Carl. Oh, so you know them. You know Commission. You know Fred too. You know Fred Hammond.
I know Fred lives here in Texas. He
does now, but he's from the D though.
Yeah.
He's from Detroit.
Yeah, he's from the D. Yeah. A lot of people from the D are here.
Yeah, I know. I was supposed to be one of them down there in Houston, but that's another story for another day. I still got to tell my story about how I dated a serial killer. That's a story for another day too. So.
Woo!
Somebody brought that out of me. I said, "That's a story. That is a real, genuine, true story, true to life story."
That's a Patreon story there.
You know what? I may have to start that a Patreon because I got some stories that are deep. I got some stories.
Yes, it is. You ain't got to worry about the censorship that you have on YouTube and speaking. So, but I know. What was I going to tell you? Yeah.
Wait a minute. She wants to know what that would be considered a passport, bro. I wanted to know if it would be considered 90-day fiance. Because let's say you meet the.
I'm gonna be 90 day. I'm gonna be 90-day fiance. I'm gonna be 90-day fiance the other way.
Because are you gonna leave the States for the UK? What?
I do have this hankering to move outside the United States. I do.
I think really a lot of us do. I don't think you're alone.
I really do.
To be honest, I was going to do the opposite. I was actually planning to move to the States.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, look.
Wait a minute. Let's hear it out. Sean, wait a minute. Let's hear JR. JR, you were going to move to the United States, and go ahead. I want to hear that.
No, I was going to move to the United States for my last relationship.
She was over here. She was over here in America.
Yes, she is.
Oh, she still is. Oh,
okay.
Oh,
but as much as Kojo is over here, I don't know. Both y'all like to.
Let me ask you this question, Sean. You could just nod your head, yes or no. Is her name is her name Alexis? Never mind. I'm being super silly. I'm over here and I'm drinking too much.
That was in reference to your. Mango. That was reference to what your question.
My question was. my question was, I'm being silly this whole episode. If you guys haven't caught on, I think everybody has at this point. So, we were saying about exes and people and things that you remember. So I asked him, was his lady friend, was her name Alexis? Alexis.
No, it was no, it wasn't. No. I never had a girlfriend named Alexis.
No, I was talking to JR though.
Oh, me.
JR.
No.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me. Oh, okay.
No. The girl that I loved and wanted to make us a family with and be with and marry and all that stuff. She's from the States. Her name is not Alexis, but she does occasionally tune into this show and a few other shows.
Well, okay, not Alexis. Alexis, not Alexis. You heard that. So sounds to be like y'all got some unfinished business. That's what I'm hearing. All right now. Did you hear that, Simone? I know you out there in them bushes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No unfinished business.
Okay. Let me get off the air before I get JR in trouble with his lady love, the future mother of his future children.
I had a friend of mine that I was in graduate school. She was an undergrad, but she was teaching over in England, and I was supposed to go visit her and her husband and family, but I never did make it. I never did make it over there. But I mean, I fell in love with the British accent because I used to watch Desmond's Place. I used to watch EastEnders.
Oh,
I'm still a fan of.
What is this show? I'm a fan. What is that about? Because I love British TV. What is it about? Is that a good show?
No, Desmond's Place. All right, basically, it's about a guy who came over from the Caribbean, Trinidad, somewhere like
Guyana,
that.
Yeah.
And Guyana, and he set up a barber shop where it's like he's the barber. He has a wife and 3 kids, and it's basically documenting their life in Southeast London, as a Guyanese family living in the UK.
Oh, okay.
It's a comedy. It's a comedy show. It's a black comedy.
Kind of a comedy. Oh, okay. Oh, it is a comedy. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds interesting because it sounds interesting and cute to me. I don't know. What's it called again?
Desmond's.
Oh, I'm gonna look.
You probably can find the whole. You probably can find the whole episodes on YouTube. Probably.
Yeah, of course you can. But it's very dated though. Like you're talking about something like it's like from the early 90s, like 91, 92.
Oh, okay. But I still check it out because I like classic TV. I mean,
but I like Desmond. I like Desmond. I like EastEnders.
You know?
Well, do you ever watch the show? Okay, listen. Do you watch Death in Paradise? You gotta watch that. That's a UK show.
I've never seen that one.
You gotta check it out. You check my show out, I'll check your show out, and we'll report back. Okay.
But did you see this? What channel?
I don't know. I just get it over. You can watch it on FilmRise. It's free on FilmRise. Okay. And also, Doc Martin. Doc Martin is good too.
Okay.
But you might like Death in Paradise because it is set on an island, and you do have more. You have more. What's the word I'm looking for? You have more melanated people in that show. Doc Martin, like he said, it's set in Cornwall, and there are very few, if any, melanated people.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I even go back further. I like my other show, like Are You Being Served and Keeping Up Appearances. You know, hey.
Oh, you know about those?
Oh yeah.
You are really. What is it? They call it an Anglophile or whatever it is. Is that you are really into this UK stuff?
I'm a bibliophile, sapiosexual, heterosexual man.
Okay. I see where this is leading to. Okay, let me hurry up and get up off the air. This has all been very interesting. You guys got us. One other thing. So Mimi said, I left this up here for you for a long time, Sean, but you never commented. So I'm going to read it to you. Mimi says that someone is too young. You're too young for her auntie, but she has 2 sisters though. So you know what, you guys explore the avenues. He's over on Instagram. You caught his Instagram, right, guys? Go check it out. He's available to talk to. DM him. But we want to have you come back. We want to thank you again, JR, and I want to thank you for being here. Of course, I want to thank JR. And JR, could you tell us a little bit about what's going on your channel and on your Instagram?
Yes, indeed. JRX TV on YouTube, on Instagram, health, fitness, well-being on Instagram, relationships on YouTube. Why? Because all of those components make up your health and well-being overall. If you have relationship troubles, they often spill out into other areas of your life. And obviously, if you have problems with health, fitness, lifestyle, vices, things like that, they can spill over into your personal life and your relationships. So it's tackling all of those in 2 platforms. So check me out. Like, share, and subscribe the videos, and follow the Instagram.
Yeah. And Sean, you want to tell them one more time, because a couple of ladies said they indicated that they may have a single sister or girlfriend who is single, who is well educated and meets some of your criteria. So you want to share your Instagram again? Unfortunately, my moderators did not pick up your Instagram this time. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes. As far as my Instagram, you can find me at my IG is at SANDRES1906. So it looked like Sandres, but it's SANDRES. So that's my first, middle, and last name, SANDRES 1906, because of the fraternity I'm a member of. And then, of course, you can find me on Facebook under my first and last name, Sean Stokes. And I do love my American sisters too. So thank you. I love American sisters as well.
Yay! Let's give them a hand too. What's the last number, so I can put it in the chat? What's the last number, Sean, of that Instagram handle?
1906. 1906. 1906.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
My typing is not the best sometimes. This is Sean. Okay.
SANDRES 1906.
Right, yes. right. Get that up there. And guys, we want to thank you for hanging out. A lot of you hung around for a good long time. I did not expect we were going to be here for no 2 hours plus, but I enjoyed it. Even all our BritBox stuff and our talking about the UK and talking about travel over to Jamaica and who's over there and who's not and who's going to be there the next time around. So, guys, we appreciate you. Just make sure you hit that like button. What is it we say, JR? You like to tell them what are the things to do, all the things that are thinging?
You gotta like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Yeah.
Right. That's it. That what he said and what Sean said. Those
Aubrey, I'm not going to impose. I'm not going to impose, Aubrey, but I would love to sit in on your panel with the Married at First Sight. This season is crazy.
Absolutely, Sean. I'm glad you mentioned it, because I don't know too many men that watch that show, so that would be wonderful. Would you really? Would you come over?
Yes, I've been a Married at First Sight fan since season 10, 9, 10, something like that. But yeah.
Okay, so, absolutely. Yeah. Then consider yourself invited, and I'll get back with you offline about that.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. Yeah, absolutely. Guys, say goodbye. We're gonna shimmy and shake on out of here now.
Have a nice evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. See you next week.
Have a great night. What up, Doe?
As Detroit speak. What up, Doe? What up, Doe? Bye, y'all.
All right now.